Listen, as a retired financial planner, I've spent decades sitting across the desk from adults who were, frankly, absolutely terrified of the stock market. But today we're doing something a little different. I'm talking directly to you. You're a high school student, right? You've got a completely blank slate, zero investing experience, and your whole life ahead of you. So I want to use this mentorship session to share the greatest secret of building generational wealth. It's a secret that sadly most adults don't figure out until it's way too late. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Sounds kind of crazy, right? I mean, every time you turn on the TV and the stock market is tanking, the adults are panicking, the news anchors literally look like they're about to cry. And hey, it's totally natural to be afraid of market crashes. Evolution hardwired our brains to run away from danger. But what if I told you that bear markets, market crashes, don't actually destroy wealth? They just transfer it. Wall Street insiders have quietly known this for over a century. The whole goal of this explainer is to make absolutely sure you know exactly how to be on the winning side of that transfer.
Just think about this one number for a second. 26. Since 1928, the United States stock market has experienced exactly 26 bear markets. 26 times people totally panicked. 26 times the news told everyone the financial world was literally ending. And 26 times everyday Americans lost sleep, yanked their money out of their accounts, and swore they'd never invest again. But do you know what happened after every single one of those 26 crashes? The market recovered, and then it climbed even higher than it was before. Every single time.
So let's define this intimidating term real quick so you know exactly what we're dealing with here. A bear market is officially just a drop of 20% or more in stock prices from recent highs. That's the whole definition. Sure, it sounds bad, and in the moment it definitely feels catastrophic. But honestly, think of a cyclical bear market as nothing more than a temporary hangover after a party that went on just a little too long. The economy slows down, things cool off, and prices reset. It's a completely normal, healthy part of the economic cycle.
Look at history. I mean, we've seen some absolutely terrifying event-driven shocks in the financial world. We have the 1929 Great Depression, the 2008 financial crisis, and of course, the 2020 COVID crash. Back during the Great Depression, people legitimately thought capitalism was broken forever. But if we zoom out, the historical proof is just undeniable. Even after the absolute worst, most terrifying events like 1929, the long-term stock market remains this incredible upward trending story. Most bear markets are just temporary corrections on that upward path. Once you truly understand that, the whole game changes.
So here's the million-dollar question. If the market always goes up eventually, why do most people lose money? Well, a 30-year study looked at the S&P 500, which is just the 500 biggest companies in America. It returned about 10.7% per year. But the average American investor, they only made 2.9%. That massive wealth gap is caused by one thing: panic selling. Take a guy named Dave from Columbus during the 2020 COVID crash. He watched his retirement account drop from $180,000 down to $118,000 in just a month. His biological flight response just totally took over, and he sold everything to sit in cash. He missed the entire massive recovery that happened just a few months later. Panic is the ultimate wealth killer. Which brings us to a huge core mentor principle I want you to memorize. This is from Warren Buffett, arguably one of the greatest investors of all time. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. Emotional control is your absolute superpower here. Every time someone like Dave from Columbus is panic selling at the bottom, someone else is buying. Wealthy investors view a market crash simply as a massive clearance sale on great underlying businesses. When a great company drops 40%, the business hasn't actually changed, only the price tag has.
$15 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. That is the staggering amount of money Warren Buffett deployed into the stock market during the 2008 financial crisis. It was the worst crash since the Great Depression, banks were literally collapsing, and everyday people were running out of the store. But Buffett? He was calmly filling his shopping cart. He bought massive stakes in American companies simply because they were on sale. And when the market inevitably recovered, those bets generated billions in profit. Now, I hear you. You're in high school. You're probably thinking, okay, well, I don't have billions of dollars lying around like Warren Buffett. Well, meet Ann Scheiber. Ann was an everyday, regular IRS auditor. She retired way back in 1944 with just $5,000 saved up. But having lived through the Great Depression, she saw exactly what happened when people panicked. So she put her money into stocks of consumer brands she understood, and she just held on to them. Through the massive crashes of 1962, 1973, and 1987, she never panicked once. She just kept buying the dips. When she passed away at age 101, that initial $5,000 had grown into $22 million. No fancy advisor, just pure emotional control. Let's look at another incredible story of an average young investor, someone a little closer to your age. It's 1939, or right at the tail end of the Great Depression, and World War II is breaking out. People are terrified. But a 27-year-old named John Templeton, seriously not much older than you are right now, called his broker and bought $100 worth of every single stock trading for under $1. He bought 104 of the most beaten down, totally despised companies in America. He used the leftover fear of the Great Depression to courageously build his financial foundation. And you know what? 4 years later, he had turned his $10,000 investment into over $40,000. All right, so how do you actually apply this? What do you do when the next crash happens? Here is your step-by-step mentor checklist, your 5 bear market playbook rules. 1. Have cash ready. Just keep some money on the sidelines to buy the sale. 2. Dollar cost average. Invest a set amount consistently no matter what the market is doing. 3. Know what you own. Have deep conviction in the businesses you buy. 4. Ignore the noise. Seriously, mute the TV and ignore the fear-mongering. And 5. Play the long game. Let time do all the heavy lifting for you.
All right, section 2. Pop quiz, test your mentor training. Okay, I've done a lot of talking. It's time to see if you've actually internalized these lessons with a quick, interactive pop quiz to test your emotional control. I'm going to give you 3 real-world scenarios. Here is scenario number 1. You wake up, check your phone, and every single news alert says the stock market is in an absolute free fall. It's the worst week since 1987. Your friends are texting you, totally panicking, saying they're selling everything before it goes to zero. Your biological fear response is screaming at you to run. So what do? Do you sell to protect what you have, or do you do something else?
If you remembered rule number 4, you hit the nail on the head. Ignore the noise. You really have to remind yourself that the financial news media's entire business model is built on keeping viewers afraid. Nothing keeps eyeballs glued to a screen quite like panic. If you make decisions based on what some guy in a fancy suit is yelling about on TV, you'll miss the recovery entirely. You mute the TV, you ignore your panicking friends, and you stick to your long-term plan. Let's move on to scenario number 2. Say you're in high school, working a part-time gig, and you've got $300 a month you want to invest. You know, crashes are opportunities, right? So, do you just hoard all that cash in a shoebox under your bed and wait years trying to perfectly time the absolute bottom of the next market crash? Or is there a better way to build your wealth right now? The answer here is rule number 2, dollar cost average. You don't wait. You invest that $300 consistently every single month, totally on autopilot. Trying to perfectly guess the bottom of a market crash is just an impossible game. But by dollar cost averaging, when the market is high, your $300 buys fewer shares. And when the market inevitably crashes, your $300 automatically buys way more shares while they are on sale, meaning you make even more profit when the market recovers. Showing up every single month naturally builds a solid habit, and ultimately it builds wealth. Okay, final quiz scenario. And this one is all about emotional discipline. You log into your account and a stock you own has suddenly dropped 30% in value. It looks terrible on the screen, all the numbers are glaring red, your stomach completely drops. How do you stop yourself from just clicking that sell button and locking in a massive loss just to make the bad feeling go away? You beat the panic by using rule number 3, know what you own. Look, if you bought a company just because someone on the internet said it would go up, a 30% drop is going to terrify you. But if you can explain in 2 simple sentences exactly why you own it, say because they have incredibly loyal customers, strong cash flow, and a great product, then a price drop isn't going to shake your conviction. You don't view it as a disaster, you view it as a 30% off coupon for a business you already love.
And that brings us to the end of our mentorship session today. The stock market is going to crash again in your lifetime. I guarantee it. Most people will panic, they'll sell, and their wealth will legally and quietly transfer over to the people who manage to stay calm. Millionaires are made in the exact moments when everyone else is running out the door and one person quietly walks in. You have the absolute ultimate advantage right now, and that's time. So I'll leave you with this final thought. When the next crash comes, which side of the wealth transfer will you be on? Remember, fear is temporary, but wealth is generational. Thanks for watching this explainer, and stay patient out there.